AI does not diminish our humanity, it reflects it. I used to think AI was a threat. I was wrong. My fear was. One day I had to send emails to every family who owed us fees. This killed me. I hated doing this work. I can build strategy. I can design learning. I can sit with a dysregulated teenager for an hour and not flinch. But send an email to parents that are in a position that's already stretching them, asking them to pay money, that's not me. And that week I was already carrying too much. I'm a late diagnosed autistic and ADHD school leader. I'm not saying that for a diagnosis or a label or as a confession, but as context to my world. I care deeply. I process intensely, and I feel tone in my bones. And when my nervous system tips into overload, it's not pretty. Leading a community where 75% of our young people, and I suspect old people, are neurodivergent means I can't ignore nervous systems, theirs or mine. That week had been heavy for me. There'd been emotional conversations, staffing decisions. The quiet labour of holding together a complex community was real. And then there was a list of unpaid fees. I remember staring at my screen, rewriting the sentences, trying to get the tone perfect so I wouldn't hurt anyone, so I wouldn't live with the shame of writing the wrong words. And I realised something really uncomfortable. If I wrote that email in the state that I was in, it would cost me my nervous system. And the next person to walk in that room, I wouldn't be there for them. So I built Joan. Joan's our wise old secretary in GPT format. She's calm where I overthink. She's boundaried where I over-explain. She's clear when I spiral. She's my hero. I gave her the values of our learning community, the tone we stand for, the balance between compassion, responsibility. So she drafted the emails for me. And with a colleague who was leaning over me, literally said, "I'm going to the post office. If you haven't sent those by the time I get back, I'll send them." I did so. And that afternoon, a 13-year-old walked into my office, her first heartbreak. Her boyfriend had just broken up with her. And I had the space. I had the space to sit with her and the space to step her through that. Space in my nervous system, space in my attention, and space in my heart. That was a moment I understood something I hadn't expected to understand. That the machine wasn't taking my humanity, it was actually protecting it. I was wrong. I thought AI was a threat. It wasn't. My fear was. Look around this room. You're here because you care about education. Not about what it measures, not about what it proves, but what it's for. You've all done work no one saw. You've sat at home at midnight writing curriculum. You've rewritten policies. You've reconfigured work of leaders before to prove your worth. You've carried decisions that have never had a clear answer. You know what it costs. After Joan, I started noticing something else. Not in my learning community, but in LinkedIn, the modern staff room. Scroll long enough and you'll see it too. Don't use AI. It's destroying education. Ban it. Don't use it. Who are you? And then on the other side, if you're not using it, you're leaving education behind. What are you doing? Why aren't you using it? But when I look through those conversations, I don't see recklessness. I see exhaustion. I see educators who spent years rewriting curriculum. I've seen educators redoing the work of other leaders, tweaking it so it doesn't look borrowed, proving their rigour over and over again. There's dignity in that work. There's this pride, right, in an educator if we do it from scratch. It unsettles us that a computer can do that in seconds. Who am I? Who am I when AI does the work that I've spent my life learning I have to do? The cult of busy. It presses on our worth. Are we still thinking? Are we still rigorous? Are we still needed? Every generation of educators believes they are standing on the edge of something dangerous. The printing press, calculators, the internet. And every time the real danger turns out not to be the tool, but our fear of losing control. Control of standards, control of expertise, control of what counts as real thinking. But while we're debating control, something else is happening in our learning spaces. The young people in front of us are anxious. They've inherited a world that's far more complex than the one we inherited. And what they need most from us at the moment is not pretty documents. They need presence. They need adults who are calm, adults who are curious, adults who can sit in ambiguity without panicking. And here's what the mirror showed me. We're drowning in tasks that do not require humanity, and yet the people in front of us are starving for it. AI did not create that imbalance. It revealed it to us. AI is a mirror. It reflects who we already are. So if AI can absorb some of the tasks that do not require our humanity, what could we protect instead? When I say presence, I don't mean standing in front of a classroom or a learning space of young people. I mean present for courageous conversations. The willingness to sit with young people and go, gee, I don't know the answer to that. The courage to say, what part of that learning made you stretch your thinking? What part of that learning made your thinking smaller? What part of that learning are you proud of? That is the human work of education. And that is why at our community we made a decision. We didn't experiment quietly. We built a team. We now have 14 team members. Probably won't remember them all because we're up here. But we have Loza, Macca, Bob the Builder, Joan, of course, Hannah, Matteo, Candy, Alfie, and the list goes on. Or Gail. They're all our AI bots. They are a team. They're not replacement teachers. They are custom-made AI bots for our community. 10 colleagues who don't get tired. They draft the emails that drain us. They synthesize the data that overwhelms us. They structure the curriculum when our brains are full. They help us find language when we're spiraling. They don't hold relationship. They remove friction. And because they don't get tired, we don't have to pretend that we're not tired anymore. That matters in a learning community like ours. It matters in any learning community. Because when a guide is not spending hours rewriting policy, they've got energy left for real conversations. When data is synthesized clearly, they can ask better questions instead of wrestling messy spreadsheets. When an email is drafted cleanly, they can sit with a dysregulated youngster and give them safety. AI does not replace a faculty. It protects one. It protects the space where courageous conversations live. And that is the choice in front of us. Not whether we use AI, but what we protect when we do. AI is a mirror. It does not tell us who to be. It reflects who we choose to protect. If we use it to monitor, it will reflect control. If we use it to defend our territory, it will reflect fear. If we use it to prove our worth, it will reflect our insecurity. But if we use it to create space, it will reflect courage. The courage to say, I don't know. The courage to ask better questions. The courage to sit in complexity with young people and not rush to shut it down. I built Join because I was overwhelmed, not because I wanted to automate education, because I wanted room for a 13-year-old whose heart had just been broken, room for a staff member who needed reassurance, room for myself so I didn't have to pretend that I wasn't tired anymore. It forced me to decide when my humanity mattered the most. And now we're all standing in that same decision. The machine is not asking who it will become, we are. So the question is not whether AI belongs in education. The question is, what do we want it to reflect? Thank you.